Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another Create a Sim for the Disney Save. Today we are going to be making the Huns and the main villain character from Mulan, who is Shenyu. So I did their speed build, their little residential campground in a previous video. Definitely check that out in the Disney Save playlist linked in my description box down below as always. And I'm really excited to be adding these guys to the save file. They are definitely like a different type of villain character. We almost have like a little villain group, which is kind of fun. And they are a new club that we are also going to be adding to the save file called the Huns. And I did talk about this a little bit in some of the other videos, but they are going to be a rival club to Shang's soldiers. So we're adding kind of a little bit of lore to the save file, and I'm excited to be bringing in a few characters. We're going to be working on Shan today, as well as 3 other Hun characters that are sort of seen in the background. And actually, according to a Disney wiki page that I found, they do have names, which I was not really aware of. So I did go ahead and borrow the names that were listed in that wiki. I'm not really sure where they got them from, but I'm going to just take the information and see it as helpful. But without further ado, let's get into today's characters. First, starting out, of course, with Shenyu. He is a Renaissance sim. He's ambitious, mean, and a genius. He obviously has a pet falcon in the movie, and in the past we have converted a lot of bird characters into either cats or dogs, or sometimes if we have a sim that's a spellcaster, you're able to add a familiar. For example, when we did Maleficent, that was really, really simple to kind of transition over. But for this, I just really did not want to give him a cat. I felt like that was so off base for his character, and whenever I add like a cat or a dog to a lot, I always have to think about who's going to take care of the animal, and I just don't see any of these characters really worrying and like taking care of animals like that. So for now, I'm actually not going to be adding his falcon companion. I'm going to wait and hope that at some point in the Sims 4 lifetime they do add birds of some kind, and then I'd love to be able to obviously come back here and update for this character. We will see. It's one of those things I'm just going to kind of have to come back to. His career is obviously military. Shenyu is the ruthless leader of the Huns. He's extremely strategic, cunning, and a military genius. Enemies fear him for his brutal fighting tactics and his unparalleled 10 steps ahead strategy. He will stop at nothing to get what he wants. He doesn't show fear against anything. He is merciless even towards the defenseless. Shenyu also has an ego and will often use others to show off his skills and his strengths. Not much is known about him. He is a very private person. He doesn't keep many friends and rarely interacts with anyone outside the Huns. When he does, he only speaks of military strategy. He is currently stationed at the Huns camp with some other club members, always plotting schemes against his rival club, Shang's soldiers. Shenyu would spend all day and night working on the next big plan to cause his rival club misery over any sport or game. He is very physically fit, able to withstand extreme weather conditions, and survive in the worst circumstances. The only creature Shenyu seems to have some affection for is his pet falcon. Shenyu shows no interest in hobbies or anything outside of war strategy and plotting. He will be a 2-star celebrity with a bad reputation, or leaning a little bit further than that potentially. So when it comes to the actual design of Shenyu, I immediately ran into a couple of tricky things. First of all, we do not have his beard, and that became a problem pretty much across the board because his beard was one that I needed for previous characters, and I also kind of needed it for some of the other Huns characters. And then I was also trying to add some really like heavy black makeup to his eyes. His eyes are actually supposed to be yellow with like black around them, and if I had made him a vampire, I potentially could have been able to do that, but keeping him a human sim, we're not able to do that, and I also don't have access to a lot of the deeper set, darker eye makeup and like scars and things that are unlockable by some of the occult characters. So just using what we have in like the base category, it was really tricky, and I was kind of opting for this vampire's face paint in the beginning, but it was kind of heavy and I really didn't like how it looked, so I ended up messing with the face shape just a little bit and taking that away, and instead just making the eyes a bit darker. I was also really worried about the hair. Shenyu wears his hair down and it's sort of like shoulder length long, but then it's very bald on the top of his head, so we don't have our hair like that, and it was just kind of like 3 strikes across the board: no eye makeup, no hair, and no matching beard. And the outfit is just a whole nother story. So this is one of those cases where here. The in-game catalog of stuff is almost useless in creating the character, but I think I did the best with what we have here. I ended up opting for a different hair, not this braided one, and not this makeup. So you'll see the final version in a few moments here with a bit of a lighter makeup, but I think it helps to resemble the character a bit more. I did add the braided hair as a separate swatch for a different outfit in his everyday wear because I think that it's kind of similar to something that he would have. I did actually go ahead and look up some Mongolian style hairs kind of from this time period, and I was trying to just maybe see if I could find anything to use as reference so that I could pick something else from the catalog, but from what I could tell, he probably wouldn't have kept his hair long anyway, so again, it's just one of those times where the depiction is sort of really off, and I just went with what I thought was probably going to be the best. Now we are moving on to the 3 other Huns characters. This is going to be a little bit quick. These guys are seen in the background of the movie, and they really don't have too many speaking lines. They serve as obviously like his military members, and they are part of the Huns Club for the purposes of the save file. He is a mean kleptomaniac snob. He is also a part of the military. Zenka is second in command to Shenyu. He is mostly brains and strategy over brawn, but almost as cunning as Shenyu himself. He is a mean, selfish jerk and is absolutely nasty to everyone he encounters. Zenka also has a habit of taking whatever catches his eye, from foods to jewels and weapons. There is nothing he won't try to steal just for the fun of it. Again, according to the one Disney wiki page that I found, or it was like Villains Wiki or something like that, they had listed out some of the names of the background Huns characters that I have no idea where they got this information from, but I'm just kind of taking it as it was listed in the wiki page. I had a couple of references, and basically I just picked ones that stood out to me, but this, according to the wiki page, happened to be one of the characters that was second in command to Shenyu. So he's the one with the longer hair. He's a little bit slender. They all look very, very similar. The other 2 that we're going to be making for the group are the 2 brothers, the ones that are usually seen as shirtless and bald. One of them does actually have a little bit of hair, but those are the ones that I picked. I couldn't do too many characters because, again, I'm really not a big fan of adding a lot of these unnamed Disney characters to the save file. I feel like it'll get really clogged up really quickly, and I want everybody to be super recognizable. And we also do have a bit of a limit as far as what you can put into the game and the amount of sims that you're allowed to add into a save file, so we don't want to be adding too many, but to make up a club, we would want to have more than a few members. So we went ahead with 4, including Shenyu, and I had to do bunk beds and everything for the lot itself, so again, we didn't have a lot of sleeping arrangements and all of that good stuff. Next up, we have Bao. Bao is an angling ace. He is a loner, lazy, self-absorbed sim. He is in the military career. Bao and his brother barely ever speak a word. They serve as bodyguards to Shenyu and the brute strength of the Huns group. Of the 2, Bao is the most quiet. He never voices an opinion or a thought. He just sits back and takes orders. He is the fisherman of the group. He will sometimes be the only source of food for the Huns, always fishing and knowing exactly how to best catch whatever is in the area. He will never tell the others, but he actually enjoys fishing quite a lot. Bao would like to leave the Huns and enjoy a quiet cabin near a lake with no one around, but he knows his place and fears Shenyu and the others too much to ever stray far. Again, background character, very simple. I just felt like for these characters in particular, I didn't need to go into as much detail as I would for a main villain character such as Shenyu, but we wanted to give them obviously a little bit of backstory, so I kind of made him a quiet little fisherman, which is kind of fun, I think. And then we have his brother Bai. His aspiration as leader of the pack. He is a mean, paranoid, hates children sim, a part of the military career. Bai is also one of Shenyu's personal bodyguards. He secretly hates Shenyu and wants to replace him as head of the group. He believes himself to be the strongest and most cunning of them all. Sometimes he plots, if only mentally, of ways to get rid of their leader. Because of this, he has developed a bit of paranoia. Bai often thinks the others in the group are out to get him or want to see him gone from the Huns. The truth is they can barely be bothered to care for him, let alone plan his removal. Bai spends his days taking orders, but staying in top physical condition for the day he believes he can finally take Shenyu out. And of course the 2 of them are brothers. I thought that would be fun to have a character that's like kind of secretly plotting against Shenyu but is too scared to really ever do anything and has like a little bit of paranoia because of it. With these background characters and unnamed sort of Disney characters, we get away with a little bit more as far as like coming up with storylines, so it's fun to just add a cute little spin to some characters that I normally don't get to add too much information. This is also the first Creative Sim that I'm doing since they added the likes and dislikes, so I went ahead and added some of that stuff for these characters. I really just focused on Shenyu though, and I'm going to be updating the other characters as well, so if you see old Disney Save characters coming down off of the gallery and then going back up, it is probably because I'm working on some of that stuff, so stay tuned for that. And that is the end of today's video. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. If you would like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in my description box down below, or the one at the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Hit that little bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I post, and I will talk to you all in the next one.